welcome back. Welcome to the Angry Bird Fans Hangout Podcast, and I'm your host, Hydro. It's almost here. That's right, it is almost here. The divisional playoff game between the Eagles and those Giants right around the corner. And today we're going to be doing a preview of the game. It's the Eagles versus Giants. Game preview part 3. This is the third time that these two teams meet this season. The first time we kind of demolished them 48-22. And then the second time they didn't play their starters. And it was a game we needed to win to get the number 1 seed in the NFC and get that first round bye in the playoffs. So it wasn't, so I can't really go back and look into that game because one, the Giants didn't play their starters, so they really didn't play a significant game plan in that game. They were just playing. I don't even think they were even trying to win that game. We just went out there and did enough to win the game, and this was the first game Jalen Hurts came back to play since getting injured in that Chicago game. And we kind of kept it vanilla on offense just to protect him and to ensure he didn't re-injure or further injure that shoulder. So we didn't put a lot on film in that game, I think on both offense and the defense. So I probably won't be really talking about that game, the second game. And this one's going to be a little bit difficult because it's kind of hard. I was thinking about it. How do I preview a game and where the teams have already played twice? And when in the second game, each team didn't really play like they didn't come out with great game plans or anything. They were just both out there playing and hoping to win the game. But we will revisit the first game. There really aren't a lot of changes between the first game and the game that's going to be played here on Saturday. But let's get into it. So in the first game, we had certain key players missing. So this will be the difference. I think the Giants had players missing on their defense, especially in their secondary, that they will have back for this game. So that'll make a difference for them and how they scheme up their defensive game plan to stop the Eagles' offense. The Eagles on offense, we were missing Dallas Goedert. If you remember, he got injured in the Washington game. He injured his shoulder, so he was out for like almost 5 weeks. So he didn't play in this game. He didn't come back until he came back for the Dallas Cowboys game. I think that was his first game back. The other key players we're missing were mainly on defense. We were missing CJ in the secondary. And then Reed Blankenship, who replaced him, got injured early on in that game, so he really didn't play that whole game. Kayvon Wallace came in to play for him. So we'll have those two guys back out there. And the only person that will be missing on the team who's a starter is Avonte Maddox. And he hasn't been placed on IR yet, which is a good thing because that kind of shows signs that he may be back, maybe for the NFC Championship game if we make it there, or even for the Super Bowl, he'll probably be back for that. So that's good signs for us. But he is definitely a key player that we will miss out on that defense. And one of our weakest areas, I believe, and I've been saying this for a while now, is the middle of that defense. A lot of teams have been having success, especially in the passing game, in attacking our defense over the middle. I mean, I don't know if it's because, I mean, we had Josiah Scott out there replacing Avonte Maddox. Not saying he's a bad player, but he's not Avonte Maddox. If he was, I mean, he would be starting, right? So, I mean, he does enough to fill in that gap, but he doesn't make that quite that impact that Avonte Maddox would make being in that game. So in the injury report, it was a good sign. Lane Johnson's gonna be back out there. He was a full participant. Jalen Hurts is no longer on the injury report, but that doesn't mean that he is fully healthy. That just means that he's a full participant and ready to play, and he's not considered, as still having an injury. But like I said, that doesn't mean that his shoulder is 100%. But we'll definitely see if it is by the way our offense plays, or how he plays in the offense, because he definitely can't go out there and play like he did in the last Giants game. I don't think we will win that game with him playing that way. I mean, we could squeak by a win with him playing like that, but we're not gonna open up the game if he's, basically not being able to run the ball or being able to escape the pocket like he has all season long. I mean, he can stay in the pocket and throw from the pocket, but he's more dangerous when he's on the move, because the defense, they don't know if he's going to take off and run with the ball or if he's going to pass the ball. So that kind of puts the defense in a crutch, especially if he starts rolling out, and they're going to have to take one person going to have to drop off coverage to come up and make sure that he doesn't take off with the ball. And so that'll kind of open up the field for him in the passing game. Another one, Brandon Graham was on the injury report, but it was due to an illness, but he was back at practice yesterday. So I don't think that the illness, was that significant, really. They probably had to put it on there because he probably couldn't practice being ill, but I'm pretty sure he's ready to go in this game, because in the last game he had a monster game. He had 3 sacks in that game. So we need him to have another performance just like that one. And Robert Quinn was on there with a back, but he was a full participant, and so was Linval Joseph with a calf injury. He was a full participant. So the only player, like I said, is Avonte Maddox. So we're going in there almost full strength. And if you are a diehard Eagles fan, this is like, this never happens, for us, especially the last like 3 seasons or so. We've had players that were out for the rest of the season. This injury report looked like a freaking, an essay, because it was just filled up from top to bottom with players that were injured. But I got to give credit to Coach Sirianni, because he has taken a different approach in how he keeps the players healthy, how he keeps them rested. If he usually gives players, especially veterans who play a lot of snaps on the field, he gives them a rest day during the week so they can kind of like recuperate and not kind of, put their body, through more stress and, re-aggravating injuries. By game time, these guys are probably feeling fresh and ready to go. So I got to give him a lot of credit in that area. But this game, I think one of the key points, especially for us on defense, because I think honestly on offense, if Jalen Hurts is playing the way that he played in the last Giants game, and this injury doesn't keep him from, from playing to his full capabilities, they're not going to be able to stop our offense. They couldn't do it in the first game. And a lot of teams we played this year have not been able to stop our offense. They just haven't. Like, the only way our offense was stopped was actually with ourselves, the team itself, through penalties, mental mistakes out there that kind of, set the team or the offense back. Instead of having a 2nd and 5, you get a penalty and now it's 2nd and 10, or you have a 3rd and 15. So that kind of, like, those mistakes killed our offense. So it's not necessarily what the other team's defense is doing to our offense that's stopping them. It's kind of like we did it to ourselves. And of course, with turnovers, that's kind of hurt us, especially like in the Dallas game, the second Dallas game. Turnovers killed us, and also in the Saints game, turnovers killed us. That kind of kept us from winning those games. So if we don't turn over the ball on offense, and we don't make mental mistakes or pre-snap mistakes, we are going to essentially go down the field on these guys. They're not going to stop us. And Miles Sanders, he had, I believe, like 140 yards rushing in the last game. Yeah, he had 144 yards rushing. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he didn't have a great game in the air. I mean, he did throw 2 touchdowns, one to AJ Brown and one to Devontae Smith, but he also had 77 yards rushing on the ground. So I think in total we had over like 254 yards rushing against them. And that's the key. I think we need to establish the run game, get Miles Sanders going, get Jalen Hurts going, put that defense back on its heels, and it's going to open up the passing game. And Jalen Hurts will basically just start killing them in the air, and they're not going to be able to stop us if we get that running game going. On defense, the key for our defense is to keep the Giants' offense one-dimensional, and by that I mean we need to shut down their run game, because in the first game, they barely had, like, they almost had 100 yards rushing. I think they did, but the majority of that came, from Tyrod Taylor. When we put our backups in the fourth quarter, and he was running the ball all over the place, just trying to make something happen. But if you take his yardage out and stuff, there would have been less than 100 yards. Saquon Barkley only had like 28 yards rushing, and we held Daniel Jones to only 26 yards. And that's the key. Like, we have to keep those two contained, keep Saquon from killing us on the ground, and Daniel Jones. We need to keep him in the pocket like we did in the first game. Do not let him get outside and kill us with his legs and get like first downs doing it that way. We need to force him to pass the ball. I mean, he did a great job passing against the Vikings, but they were we're number 1 passing defense in the NFL, and we only give up like 169 yards in passing per game. That's the average. And I mean, that's what Daniel Jones had. I think he had like 170 yards passing in the first game. So we basically, the defense held him to what we average per game. So that's what we need to do to him. Again, this time, keep him in the pocket, force him to pass, force him to make mistakes passing the ball, because we all know Daniel Jones is not comfortable passing the ball. Like, he likes to use his legs. And once they get that going, that's when they pass the ball, because, they're going to try to do what we do, put the defense on, they're going to try to put our defense on their heels a little bit. And I was having a conversation on Twitter with Bleed Green Forever. He's at FCF0917. on Twitter, and we were talking about Kaiser White. Like Kaiser White, he needs to have a big game here. Our front seven, whether it's 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers or whoever, they need to have big game. They need to put pressure on. First, they need to stop the run. Then they need to put pressure on Daniel Jones and the linebackers, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, and Hassan Reddick, if he's not rushing on the edge, need to drop back in coverage, and especially in the middle, to shore up that area on our defense, because that's where they're going to try to kill us at, is over the middle. So Kaiser White and TJ Edwards, they need to drop back deep enough in coverage in that middle and keep their, and keep them throwing lanes small. So I really, like we were saying, that Kaiser White, he has played well this year, but like I told him, is that I expected him to do more. Like he hasn't lived up to my expectations of what I thought he was going to do. Like I thought he would have more turnovers, like more interceptions, especially the way it started. When he first played in that preseason game, right off the bat, he had an interception. He's been like breaking up passes and stuff like that. But I don't know, for some reason now he's there by the ball, but he's not making plays on the ball. Like he's there when they already caught the ball and he's making the tackle. So we just need him to, get a little bit better at coverage, break up a lot more plays. I mean, he did it in the last Giants game, in the Week 18 game. He did that. He was breaking up some passes in coverage. And so TJ Edwards been doing great. Like, I think he still lacks a little bit in his coverage also, but he's been doing a lot better. He's leading the team in tackles. You could definitely count on him to stop the run and make tackles. Like he's definitely not going to disappoint you in that area. But those two guys are very valuable in this game, because one of those guys is probably going to be spying Daniel Jones, whether it's the 2 linebackers or one of the safeties are going to be spying on Daniel Jones. And I probably would say if they do use a safety, they probably use Epps. I mean, he's pretty fast and can tackle. So he did a pretty good job in the Week 14 game against the Giants and containing Daniel Jones. But Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, whoever spies Daniel Jones, they need to do a good job. They need to tackle him before, he gets to the line of scrimmage. Don't let him get past the line of scrimmage, running the ball, keep him contained in the pocket. Gannon should do more linebacker blitzes here, especially if he's spying Daniel Jones. Like the linebackers blitz should just go straight for Daniel Jones and either trying to get a sack or trying to keep him contained in that pocket. So we'll see what kind of game plan Gannon has come Saturday to contain Daniel Jones and keep him from, hurting us with his legs. But, we did a great job against Justin Fields, and he's the best running quarterback right now in NFL, except for that one run he had in that game where he kind of went through our defense like they were nothing. But that happens. But other than that run, I mean, we contained Justin Fields, and then we did the same thing to Daniel Jones the week prior. So, but still, our defense does allow the most quarterback running yards, though. But that probably, that's why I say I hate stats, because that stat is probably misleading a little bit, and because like most of those yardage probably came from that big run that Justin Fields did, so that kind of probably killed that average for our defense, because I haven't seen really other quarterbacks take off on us like that. I mean, we've been doing a pretty good job of getting to the quarterback and keeping them contained, but we just have to keep doing that same thing. Don't let Daniel Jones stay back there getting comfortable, knowing that he could just take off and run anytime. We need to be putting pressure on him and making him second guess. Like, he's going to have to pass that ball. And plus, he's not going to have enough time to pass that ball. So I think he's going to be looking to run first before he passes, because he knows that pressure is going to be coming. Minnesota didn't put a lot of pressure on him, so he was able to sit back there in the pocket and kind of, scan the field and, and pick his poison and just hit any receiver that he knew was wide open. And plus, Minnesota Vikings defense is number 28 in pass defense. So, but I mean, other than that, special teams is important. I know Aaron Sipos, I think he got injured in that game. They blocked the punt. He got injured, but we can't make any mistakes on special teams, especially in the postseason. That will come back to bite us later on in the game. And we also need to get Boston Scott going. I don't know what scheme Sirianni and Steichen, I don't know what scheme they have drawn up for him, but they definitely need to get Boston Scott rolling in this game. I mean, every time he plays the Giants, he kills them. I mean, in this last game, he only rushed for 33 yards, but he was averaging like 5 yards per carry, and he scored a touchdown too. So he scored a touchdown in both games. So for some reason, like I said in my prior episodes, that he is the giant killer, and he does something, just energizes that guy in these games against the Giants, and I'm not complaining. So hopefully he's energized on Saturday, and they're incorporating him into the plan and let him go out there and do his thing. So other than that, who do you think is going to have the biggest game on offense, and who do you think is going to have a big game on defense? So I would say, if they use Boston Scott right, I would say Boston Scott, but they haven't been using him like I want them to, so I can't say him in this game. But I'm going to go ahead and say Devontae Smith. He's going to have a big game. I think in the last game, he only had like 64 yards receiving. But I think he'll get closer to probably the 100 mark in this game, because I think the Giants are going to try to take A.J. Brown out of the game, and they're definitely going to try to take Miles Sanders out of the game for what they did last time. So they're definitely going to try to take those two out, but you can't take everybody out on field. So it's either Devontae Smith or Dallas Goedert. And what's that guy named Hawkinson for the Vikings, their tight end? He had a big game against the Giants, but I mean, that's probably because they were, having somebody, pushing coverage over to Justin Jefferson to try to take him out, so that just opened up. But that's what I'm saying. If they try to take out A.J. Brown, it's either going to leave Devontae Smith open, or it's going to leave Dallas Goedert open. They can't stop everybody. So it just depends on how Shane Steichen calls the plays to get these guys open, and let these guys have a big game on Saturday. So just let me know. You can hit me up on Twitter at UMCIE, or you can hit me up on Facebook at Angry Birds Fans Hangout, and just let me know. Send me a message there, and tell me who you think is going to be who's going to have a big game on offense. On defense, I think I'm going to say Hassan Reddick's going to have a big game. I think he's going to get after Daniel Jones. I think Avonte Maddox in the Giants game, him and Marcus Epps had big games in tackles, assists, and I want to say Kayvon Wallace too, because after he replaced Reed Blankenship, he did pretty good in that game also. So I want to say Bradbury, then he can get a pick six or like a couple of interceptions in that game. I'm hoping he does, but I think somebody from our defensive line is either going to be Brandon Graham or Hassan Reddick. They're going to have a big game, and they're going to give Daniel Jones. They're going to give him a lot of trouble back there. He's not going to be able to sit back there and go through his progressions. They're gonna make him try to run first, and he's gonna just make mistakes doing that. So let's go into the fan zone. The fan zone. All right. So I just want to thank everybody again who's listening to the podcast. Appreciate you and appreciate people, talking talking Eagles with me. There's nothing better than that, talking with other fans about our team. So now I just want to give shout outs to some of the fans. Like I said earlier, I have, Bleed Green Forever at FCF 0917. He's on Twitter. Idita Monty at Idita Monty. Jordan, it's a Philly thing at Scorpio Good Vibe. Amanda Gruder at Amanda Gruder. Heck at Nico's _pop. Black Cherry 1 at Black Cherry 6466. Yeah, I got a lot of, gotta give shouts out to a lot of fans. And Fred Flores at F.Bones, JM at Like a Chief 1. C9 Chris at X Chris V. Philly and Vegas Sports Guy, Xbox Gamer at Angel Go 512. I'm not gonna say all those numbers. Tiffany Page at 34_Tiffany. The Podfather at Derek _OTS. And Patricia C at SoCal. Hit EK Gal. I guess that's how you say it. Appreciate y'all. Y'all give y'all shout outs for being true Eagle fans this week and conversating with me or hitting me up on Twitter and talking about our Eagles. So I got in the last episode, I want to know what crazy things Eagles fans do or for their team or do on game day and stuff. And so the majority of the responses I got back is that some people say they cook food. They cook like this, special like Philly cheesesteak, egg rolls. They wear their favorite player's jersey. And the other one was some people do have tattoos. They have Eagles tattoos. That's how they represent their team. So for the most part, majority of people that responded back to me, those were the 3 top ones that I saw. And like myself, I don't have an Eagles tattoo. I was supposed to get one after they won the last Super Bowl. It just hasn't happened because I haven't found the right one that I want. So maybe if they win the Super Bowl this year, I'll probably go ahead and make that happen. So then I could add, 2 Super Bowls to the tattoo instead of just having like one, or just get a, Eagles tattoo. But game is coming up right around the corner. root for your team. I'll be if you listen to this episode today, I'll be I'll be going on at Talking 215 with the crew there, and we'll be having our discussions about, the Eagles and, these other matchups in the playoffs. So that'll be at 8:30 p.m. Tonight. So if you listen to this episode and it's before 8:30 p.m., come hop over. I put a tweet on Twitter with the link that you can come and join in on our live discussion and just join us and have some fun. They're talking about our birds. But other than that, I'm looking forward to this game, and hopefully we win. I think we should win, but you never know how things go in the playoffs. We have the better team. And before I end it, is it just me, or is everybody feeling a little bit disrespected by like the national media or the sports media, out here saying that the Giants can beat the Eagles? Because I guarantee you, if it was the 49ers or like the the Chiefs or even the Bills or something like that, like they would not be saying anything like that. Like they beat a fraudulent Vikings team. I just hate to say it. The Vikings were good on paper. Their record was good on paper, but they weren't what their record said they were. You know what I'm saying? We're the best team in the NFL. And the disrespect that everybody has against the Eagles is sickening. It's like, man, I think we're like one of the most disrespected teams or the most hated team in the NFL. Everybody hates the Eagles. So, but just, root for the birds. I know we'll win. And then I'll be back on here on Sunday for hopefully a victory Sunday, recap of the game. And I'll probably do it on Monday because I need to wait to see who wins between the Niners and the Cowgirls. And then I'll do a recap of the game and then see who will be playing the NFC Championship game. So until next time, go Birds, fly Eagles, fly.